The two-kingdom classification that was founded by Linnaeus was predominantly used until the mid-19th century, a classification that was solely based on morphology and disregards the existence of evolutionary evidences. Microscopic organisms were categorized based on their plant-like or animal-like attributes within these kingdoms. His two-kingdom classifications, namely Animalia and Vegetabilia, was going smoothly until a German scientist, protozoologist, and embryologist, Ernst Haeckel, saw a flaw in the Linnaean system.
Haeckel recognized the presence of organisms that couldn't fit neatly into the two existing kingdoms. Haeckel acknowledged Linnaeus' classification system but felt compelled to introduce a third kingdom due to advancements in technology and evolutionary theory. He posited that certain single-celled organisms played significant roles in evolutionary ancestry, distinct from those classified under Animalia and Vegetabilia. Haeckel didn't merely assign different phyla without considering observable characteristics. He also factored in morphology and cellularity to strengthen his argument, particularly because his evolutionary claims sparked debates among scientists. His evolutionary perspective served as the primary foundation for developing an initial phylogenetic diagram, which he continuously revised as new discoveries emerged. In addition to providing a broad framework for categorizing zoological information, he began at outlining specific criteria for the three-kingdom system of classification he proposed.
In order to incorporate unicellular life forms that did not cleanly fit into Animalia or Plantae, Haeckel proposed the kingdom Protista. Protists belong to a separate evolutionary lineage and were distinguished by their microscopic characteristics and unicellularity. He discovered that the primary difference between protists and plants and animals is whether or not they have a tissue system. According to Haeckel's observations, the kingdom Protista is primarily made up of microscopic unicellular organisms. For this reason, it seems sense that protists lack a tissue system, as a tissue is a level of structure formed of cells. It goes without saying that an organism's overall organization is impacted by the lack of a well-defined tissue system, which in turn impacts the morphological structures. Haeckel examines these structures through the lens of a microscope. He even provided illustrations for the pictures he acquired for his book De Regularie, which sparked debates on their accuracy.
In light of Haeckel's findings, it's evident that plants possess an inherent autotrophic nature. This corresponds with Linnaeus' characterization of plants as organisms capable of photosynthesis, enabling them to synthesize their own sustenance. Conversely, animals classified as holophagic, other term for phagotrophic, acquire nourishment by ingesting large food molecules and processing them through specific metabolic pathways. Protists, despite sharing similarities in size and basic structure, exhibit a wide range of survival strategies. Consequently, their nutritional modes are not narrowly restricted, but rather diversified.
The introduction of the kingdom Protesta by Haeckel in 1866 marked a significant point of contention among biologists, challenging the long-standing Linnaean classification system, which had only recognized two kingdoms, Vegetabilia and Animalia. Linnaeus' approach, rooted in morphology, struggled to adequately classify organisms, particularly as advancements in microscopy during the 19th century revealed finer biological details previously unseen by the naked eye. The proliferation of microscope technology during this period allowed for more detailed biological investigations. Improvements in light microscopy, including advancement in glass quality and lens precision, enabled scientists to delve deeper into the microscopic world. Despite having access to the microscope, Linnaeus did not significantly contribute to microscopic research. particularly in the study of microorganisms, which remain a blind spot in his work. Even though Anton van Leeuwenhoek had revealed a fascinating world of microbes a century earlier, Linnaeus largely overlooked them.
In contrast, Haeckel embraced microscopy with his own instrument, the portable Amici microscope, equipped with two eyepieces, four objective lenses, and an illuminating prism. This microscope, comparable to compound microscopes of the 20th century, allowed Haeckel to explore and study microscopic organisms in greater detail, contributing to his pioneering work in taxonomy. Haeckel classified those primitive organisms, such as protozoa, fungi, bacteria, and algae under kingdom Protista. Although his classification system was revolutionary for its time, it faced criticism and encountered limitations that hindered its acceptance within the scientific community. Haeckel's simplification of life into three kingdoms overlooked the true complexity and diversity of organisms, leading to a lack of precision in understanding their relationships. Moreover, his classification failed to distinguish between prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms.
The concept of the kingdom Protista served as a catch-all for all unicellular organisms that didn't fit neatly into the categories of plants or animals. However, it was later discovered that Protista was polyphyletic, meaning it included organisms with diverse evolutionary origins. As a result, Protista was eventually subdivided into multiple kingdoms to better reflect evolutionary relationships. Furthermore, Haeckel's classification lacked credible evidence to support the arrangement of organisms based on their evolutionary relationships. In contrast, modern taxonomy emphasizes phylogenetic classification, which categorizes organisms according to their evolutionary history and genetic relatedness rather than superficial resemblances.
Between 1858 and 1866, several publications emerged advocating for the establishment of a third kingdom in the formal classification of organisms. These papers proposed 4 to 6 separate designations for these kingdoms, many of which are now collectively referred to as protists. Among the suggested third kingdoms and their proponents were Protozoa or Acrita by Owen, Primigenome or Protactista by Hogg, Primelia by Wilson and Cassin, and Protesta by Haeckel.
Haeckel's proposal for a third kingdom stood out as the earliest to be backed by evolutionary theory, a feature lacking in the propositions of his rivals and predecessors, who primarily focused or concentrated on morphology. Moreover, his ongoing research fields lent him credibility to link lower organisms as predecessors, distinct from larger, more intricate life forms. His meticulous studies on radiolaria, accompanied by intricately designed illustrations depicting its taxonomy, marked the commencement of his endeavors to establish a third kingdom.
By acknowledging the vast diversity among unicellular organisms and advocating for their classification apart from plants and animals, Haeckel laid the groundwork for the establishment of the kingdom Protista. His emphasis on recognizing the complexity and distinctiveness of microorganisms spurred further study and understanding of their biological composition and evolutionary relationships. Additionally, it provided a scientific framework for distinguishing these organisms from plants and animals, prompting deeper research into their origins and evolutionary connections.